Hello, this is Lucretia with the Calm and Confident You podcast. Today I'm going to talk with you about the ability to be patient. And I'm going to do that with an example of something I've been going through over the past few days. Let's first start with the definition. Patience is the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. There is a quote, "Patience is not the ability to wait, but the ability to keep a good attitude while waiting." And that quote is by Joyce Meyer. Now, the opposite of patience is frustration, which is the feeling of being upset or annoyed, especially because of an inability to change or achieve something. So this week I have been tested over several days. Let me give you some background first. I have been thinking for a while, a very long while, that I need to do something about my phone and my current phone plan. My phone plan has been too expensive for a long time. The phone I have had for many years is so old, it was becoming very, very slow, and it had a very low storage capacity. I was running out of storage constantly and having to delete things. Also, it had an old operating system, and it could not update to a newer version. The phone couldn't handle it. So I had apps that were not able to update. I also am doing more online with video and video streaming, and I wanted new apps, but I knew I couldn't use them on my old phone. This dire situation with my phone came to be because I tend to procrastinate. In some ways, this saves me money. I made that phone last a good long time. It paid off, and in some ways it even limited me so I wasn't spending money. On the other hand, I had procrastinated for so long, I really was paying way too much for the phone service that I was on. This past Monday, a representative from Spectrum was wandering through the neighborhood and stopped by our house. He presented the latest offer. I did some quick calculations and looked at my last bill payments and determined that I could save quite a bit of money by switching at this time. I also knew that this could turn out to be a hassle. But I went for it, and by Wednesday I had received the new setup kit and equipment. On Thursday, when I opened the box, there's some procrastination again, I realized I needed a Wi-Fi router and the box that was going to stream to my TV. On Friday, my son and I went to the Spectrum store and got the rest of what we needed. We then tried to do the setup and get everything started. It just wouldn't work. By now, my blood pressure was increasing, as well as my frustration and my catastrophic thinking. I was thinking things like, it never goes smoothly, something always goes wrong, it can never just be easy. And this could really turn out to be a complete disaster. Well, I called Spectrum, and to my surprise, they were able to send a technician out the next day, which was Saturday. On Saturday, the tech showed up on time and did his checks, and it turned out to not be anything wrong that we were doing. The problem was on their end, because somehow they'd never put in the codes that needed to be put in for our equipment and for the service connection. The technician got everything running with a direct Ethernet connection to the TV box. He instructed me to get the TV service up and running with the direct connection, and then later we could move the router over to where my son's computer was so that he could have the direct connection to his computer. Then we would have an easier transition switching the TV box over to Wi-Fi. We did all of that, and as you might expect, the TV that was working quit working. Everything showed that it was connected, but it still didn't work. It was late enough in the evening, and I was frustrated enough that I just quit. The next day was Sunday, and I went for a walk. I used my new phone for photos and video. I downloaded the new apps that I wanted. I used the new apps and struggled a bit with learning how to use them, but I ended up making a decent video, knowing that I just had more learning to do. That morning, I also had noticed a Spectrum repair truck in the neighborhood. Surprise! That evening, the TV and everything worked exactly as it was supposed to work. Woohoo! Today, I'm still logging into various apps, making sure my voicemail works. I'll need new earbuds or an adapter for some things. And I still need to cancel the other services and return the old equipment. How did I manage to keep my patience and not completely lose it? Hey, I didn't completely lose it. I didn't start throwing things or screaming and yelling or swearing or anything like that. Here are some pointers for being patient. I countered all of those negative thoughts about things not working out and it always becoming a problem. Instead, I told myself that actually, things usually do work out. Usually, it isn't as difficult as I expect. There will be some simple fixes. I just need to be patient and take one thing at a time. Besides changing negative thinking to be more reasonable, the next pointer is to slow down and take one thing at a time. I had some things that were working at different times during this process. I went ahead and did what I could with what I had. And when things were not working at all, I went and did something else. And that's the next pointer. Take a break and go do something else, especially if there is nothing that you can do at that moment to fix the problem. Friday evening, I went for a walk. I did some stretching, I fixed dinner, and I did some laundry. Saturday, after the technician left, I already had plans to be out and running around. So I was busy until evening, which is when I found out that my TV was not working when it had been before. But that evening I was still able to get my new phone up and running and everything transferred from the old phone to the new phone. And the next day, Sunday, I went for a walk and used my new phone to take pictures and video and played with it. It was later that evening that I discovered that everything was working as it was supposed to be working. So the other pointer that I will tell you is when you take your break and go do something else, make sure to just be in the here and the now. Keep your focus on what you are doing during your break so that you are not continuing to think and worry about the problem. Make sure you actually enjoy your break. So there are your pointers on how to maintain patience. 1. Change your catastrophic thinking to be more reasonable. 2. Take one thing at a time. 3. Do what you can with what you have. 4. Take a break. And 5. Stay in the now during your break and while working on the problem. This week going forward, remember to practice patience and to counter your frustrations. Use the pointers that I have listed today. If you like this podcast, be sure to subscribe on your favorite streaming service and know that it is now listed on Apple Podcasts. Also, check out the new blog at growingemotionalstrength.com, where I will start posting some of the show notes for these podcast episodes, as well as other interesting articles. And until next time, be well.